Morning. So good to be back. And the title of my talk is No Complaints. There is a wonderful song by Jan Garrett and J.D. Martin called No Complaints Whatsoever. So, being the musician that I am, I thought we'd start with that. And there's a dual purpose to this because it means you'll be awake when I start talking. So I have the lyrics up there for the chorus. I'll sing it once and then we'll sing it together. And then it's going to come around one more time. Okay? I've got no complaints whatsoever. I've got no complaints whatsoever. I've got no complaints whatsoever. A new day is dawning in my soul. A new day is dawning in my soul. So now you can join me. I've got no complaints whatsoever. I've got no complaints whatsoever. I've got no complaints whatsoever. A new day is dawning in my soul. A new day is dawning in my soul. Road is surprisingly easy. Forgiveness shows up without a fight. Through the ups and the downs, I see beauty all around. So I'd rather be grateful than right. I love that line. And I get to play with what I'm given and find such unexpected harmony. Weaving the light with the deep dark shadows to the music sets me free. I've got no complaints whatsoever. I've got no complaints whatsoever. I've got no complaints whatsoever. A new day is dawning in my soul. A new day is dawning in my soul. One more time. New day is dawning in my soul. No complaints. So when I say no complaints, I don't mean that you pretend that everything is okay. And when someone says, "How are you?" you say, "Oh, I'm fine, everything's good." Yeah. No, I'm not talking about denying the fact that there are hard things that happen in life. There are times when you feel pain, when you feel grief, and when things are just hard. What I want to talk about is how do we get through that? How do we take our unity principles, our spiritual principles, and help us to get through life? So I call it building an inner toolbox. And today I've chosen 6 tools for the toolbox. And there are many, which is a wonderful thing to know, right? So the first tool is shifting your perspective. The second tool is goal setting and taking action. The third is accepting change. The fourth is gratitude. The fifth is delight. And the sixth is community. And there will not be a test. I just wanted to give you an idea of where I was going in this talk. So shifting perspective. You know how when you start thinking about something or talking about something, suddenly like emails start pouring in, the newsletters are like pointed to what you're thinking about? So last week I got this email. I subscribed to Michael Beckwith's newsletter. And this last week, it was so neat. I got this in my email. I want to read you this quote. This is a quote from one of his talks. And he talks about paradigms, which I have to admit, paradigm is a word I've seen written, Paradigm. I don't think I've ever actually used it in a sentence. Like, think about that. It's such a great word, paradigm. It means like a typical example, a model of something. So here's this quote. The present paradigm you're living in is made of how you were raised and the ceilings around you that you've gotten used to. So regardless of how hard you pray, you're not going to manifest anything that's outside of that paradigm until you become aware of it, let go of it, and allow yourself to flow into a higher dimension of being. So it's like the ceilings that we create for ourselves, the way we see ourselves, the perspective that we have. And it's how you're raised, it's where you're raised, it's how you think about yourself, and you think of yourself in your own lifetime as well. So it's actually, you've boxed yourself in without even realizing it. Even if you have a happy and wonderful life, you don't even realize that you've created these limits around yourself. So I want to suggest that perhaps you can raise the lid on the ceiling. Perhaps there's a way to shift your perspective. I have told this story, I think, before, but Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop in South Africa, was friends with the Queen Elizabeth. And he asked her, "You have been on the forefront of world and global politics for so many years. Do you think that what I'm doing for apartheid is really working? Do you think we're making any change?" And what do you think she said? Yes. She said, absolutely yes. She said, when I first came into being a queen, nobody even was talking about racism, apartheid. Nobody was even mentioning it out loud. She said, the arc is very slow, but it is changing, and I've seen it change. Don't give up hope. And I think about that quote a lot, you know. It's like we think of things in our own lifetime. We don't realize that every little seed, every little thing we do is a little piece of the puzzle. And I thought about this a lot lately. It's my birthday next week, and you know, when you have birthdays, you kind of think of like, oh, I'm this old, I'm that old, and even if you try not to like put that sort of limit on it as you grow older, like 70-year-old women are treated a certain way, you know, and when I tell people how old I am, they usually say, oh, I didn't think you were that old. But it's like, it's not that it's not lovely to hear that, but it's like, well, what do you think 70-year-old women are like? Do you think we're not curious? Do you think we're not active? Do you think we don't like to hear music? We don't like to learn new things? Perhaps we're not starting a new chapter of our life, speaking around the country, you know, singing original music. So like breaking the mold for yourself. How do you see yourself? Are you defined by that? What is your perspective about yourself? So there are a lot of different ways to shift that when your own thinking, and then to shift that to the people that you encounter and everything around you. Many years ago, when I first came to here, I came here from New York City. I still had an apartment in New York City, and I had an apartment here. And at one time, I sublet my apartment here to a friend. And I was coming back and forth, and when I came back, I found out that she had told the landlord that I wasn't coming back. So I didn't have a place to live. But it was a place I had lived in a long time, and I had actually rented from the woman whose father had built it. I paid a very, very low rent, and she had sold it to a new couple. They were expecting a baby. And when my friend renegotiated to live there, she was paying like 4 times what I was, and they needed it. So I didn't know what to do. I stayed with a friend, and then I found out that somebody needed, this man that I knew needed someone to stay in his place to paint his apartment. So he allowed me to stay there in exchange for painting his apartment. And while I was there, I met some of the neighbors. The guy that lived downstairs was pretty helpful. And then the guy came back early. He came back early, and he was in a really bad mood. It was a 1-bedroom apartment, and it wasn't that kind of relationship. And I was uncomfortable staying there with him. And I mentioned it to the man who was living downstairs, And he said, well, I have this pantry. It has like a bed in it, and you are welcome to rent that for $50 a month. So I did. So it wasn't really a room, it was just like a bed. Like it's like a boat, you could stick your hands out the windows. It had shelves. It was a decent place to sleep, and that's it. But because it wasn't a room, I'd hang out in the kitchen a lot. I'd just be in there, and he worked at night, so when he came home, we'd talk. And we became very, very good friends, talking. And then we became a little bit more than very good friends. And 38 years later, we're still together. I told you I'd tell you our story, right? Someone asked me yesterday how Dan and I met. That's how we met. So now that story could have been about betrayal. It could have been about desperation. It could have been like, I didn't have a whole lot of money at the time, so I didn't have money to put down on an apartment. It could have been about homelessness. It could have been about a lot of like pretty serious, difficult things. Instead, it was a little piece of the puzzle that led Dan and I to our life together. So I'm not saying that every single thing that happens to you leads to like romance and rainbows and unicorns. I'm just saying that sometimes when you're in it, you don't realize what that piece of the puzzle is going to lead you to. And even though you know in your brain, this too shall pass, when it's difficult, you don't feel that way. You think it, but it's hard to feel that way. And knowing, like really knowing that it's part of the puzzle is so helpful. And practicing thinking like that, and practicing seeing the little moments of frustration or difficulty during your day, and seeing that as a piece of a longer arc, a bigger puzzle, is a way to start developing this tool of shifting perspective. So I spend a lot of time on this first tool because I think this is just so important, shifting perspective. So the second tool is setting goals and taking action. And I got the title for my talk from this book by Edwin Gaines, which Kathy Sembert had given me. Yeah. And I was rereading it when you gave it to me. And second, it's called The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And the second law is setting clear-cut goals. Sounds pretty simple. But to set a clear-cut goal, you have to be very clear about what you want. And there's so much stuff that's like, there's so much stuff in our life that distracts us. She tells a story in her book about how at her Unity Church, she was helpfully telling them about how the curtains need to be changed and straightened. One of the singers maybe wasn't singing in tune all the time. And on about some very helpful tips that she had. And the minister came to her and said, Edwin, stop complaining. And she said, at that point, I didn't even realize that I was complaining. So she decided to take a mental fast and for 21 days, try not to complain. Now, when I thought about that, I thought, not just complaining about traffic, or the person sitting in front of you who hasn't showered, or, is wearing a big hat, or, but how do you talk to yourself? When you get up in the morning and look in the mirror, do you say, there you are, let's get to it? Or do you say, if only this little frizzy thing wasn't there, or, if only this or that. I mean, we all have our things, I'm sure, right? So do you complain about yourself? You complain about each other. So Edwin Gaines did this for 21 days, and it started this whole practice of clearing her mind so that she could then create a very specific, clear-cut goal. And she said if she found herself complaining, she'd start again from zero. So I have no idea how long this took her. Could have been years, right? But I have a challenge for all of you. And it is not 21 days. Never fear. You're welcome. For 24 hours, I want you to try and really watch where you're complaining about yourself, to yourself, in your thoughts, in your actions, to what's happening around you. You will be so shocked. I mean, I consider myself a really positive person. I was really shocked when I did this. So you can either like choose a buddy, be accountable to somebody who says, huh? Yeah. Or keep a notebook or make a doc on your phone and just write down just to be aware of it so that you will know when you're complaining, so that you can clear the field of all this negative patterns of thinking and speaking and looking at things, including how you look at yourself. And then you are free to set a goal. And I put setting goals and taking action as one thing because it's really great to have an idea. And as the Unity says, it's great thoughts and prayers, but let's move on it. Let's make it happen, right? This is a strong Unity principle and a strong, I consider myself a spiritual realist, and part of that means acting on what you think, what you believe, really acting on it and consciously acting on it. So you have an idea of a goal, and could be anything. It could be I want to make sure I read a book. It could be, large, it could be small, it could be anything. And then take an action, any action at all. It could be just like organizing a file in your phone or just any action that you possibly can take. Daniel Nahmod started this accountability group. If you go to his website, you can find it. I think it's on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Everybody gets on in the group. I think it's like, I don't know, $5 a week or some ridiculous thing like that. You pay just so you go, makes you go. And you get on, everybody says what they're going to do. No big discussion. It's like, I'm going to clear my dining room table. I'm going to edit this video. I'm going to, straighten out my closet. I'm going to call my mother, whatever it is, everybody says what they do. It goes mute and you go do it. Then a half hour or 45 minutes later or something like that, he comes back on and you all say what you did, which was, okay, well, I got the bills in one pile, or I managed to move the plant, or I got the first 10 minutes of this video edited, and then you say what you're going to do for the next half hour, and you do it, and then you come back, and they do that a couple of times a week. And it's not an accountability group where you say to your friend, I am going to make a new website, and I'm going to start Monday. And then Monday, something happens, and it's next Monday. No, you do it right then. So I actually went to this one night. It was really helpful. And I thought it was brilliant because Daniel Nahmod is sort of brilliant, right? And the other part of setting a goal and taking action is that you have to take action. And when are you going to take this action? Monday? Next week? How about now? So I really, I thought about that, and of course I wrote a song about it. There's a song about that. It's called The Best Time to Start is Now. Or now is the best time to start. It's a new song, so the title is flexible. Know what I mean? Is it fear that keeps you from moving on? Is it fear that tells you watch out, you could be wrong? Is it fear that locks inside your soul song? Are you frightened of the dragons that lie there? Do you wish that they could disappear? The power of the sword is in your heart. Your quest cannot go on until you start. Listen to the love song deep within. It holds the map and the directions to the truth. An X marks the treasure that is you. All your life, waiting for the right sign, waiting for the right time, waiting for the right place. All your life, waiting to begin a destiny that always lived within. Now is the best time to start. 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 Little short version of it. And our next tool is accepting change. Sometimes I call it making friends with change, or the illusion of control, because everything always changes. So how do you deal with that? Sometimes it's easy, you like it. Sometimes it's like, oh, I don't like that change in routine. It's cold out. I don't like it when it's cold, Do you just put on a sweater and smile? How do you deal with that? What is your tool for dealing with that? So one of the good tools is a sense of humor. Okay, where are my socks, right? Yeah, well, it's Key West. And another tool that really helps me with shifting changes is meditation. Because in meditation, I find a solid frame of reference, a place where I can be calm, a place where when things start moving and I feel out of control, which they are anyway, but you think they're not, how I can feel okay with it, how I can keep myself calm. So I don't know, I think a lot of people who are in this room or are on the Zoom probably do meditate, or have heard of meditation, or have tried meditation. The big secret about meditation is you do not stop your mind, you just focus your mind. And I am going to be leading us in a meditation that combines this tool of meditation with the next tool of gratitude. So just a little bit about gratitude. Being grateful for the small things, like toothpaste. Being grateful for the large things, like you're here. Like you're taking a minute to care for your inner being. You're taking a moment to build a toolbox, really. Gratitude for your family, gratitude for a comfortable seat, a safe house. Sometimes I have gratitude just because when I turn the tap, water comes out. If you've ever traveled anywhere where it doesn't, you know what I mean. So let's do a meditation together, and the end of which we'll come back around to some gratitude. If you're able to, put your feet flat on the floor. If you're comfortable closing your eyes, do. If that doesn't work for you, just have a soft focus. And put your hands on your thighs with your palms up, receptive, open. Take a deep breath in and out. And bring yourself into this present moment, into this place. Bring your attention to your heart center. The heart center is in the middle of your chest, about armpit height. You don't have to touch it, just be aware of it. Imagine a beautiful white light there. And let that white light grow as you inhale, and feel it expanding over your shoulders, down your arms to your elbows, down your arms to your wrists, out the tips of your fingers. Then hold this light in the palm of your hands. May everything I create and do today be led by the light and love that lives in my heart. And let that light come back to your heart. Feel it filling your torso as you breathe in oxygen, as you breathe out. Let that vitality course through all your organs, bringing you health. Feel that white light settling in your pelvis, this hinge, this place of movement. Let the light come down your legs to your knees, down your shins to your ankles, into your feet and out your toes. Feel your footprint on the ground as a footprint of light. And imagine this ball of light under the arches of your feet. May my path be led by the compass of the light and love of my heart. And let the light come back into your feet, up your legs, and feel it settling in the base of your spine. And let the light come up your spine, vertebra by vertebra. Yeah, be strong in my will, yet flexible enough to change. And let the light come up into your brain, in your skull, your forehead. May my thoughts be illuminated by the light and love in my heart. Let your face be full of this light. May my countenance reflect the light. And let the light come back to your heart. And then just sit, aware of this network of light and love you have just built within you. And think of one thing right at this exact moment, honestly, that you're grateful for. Could be as simple as your next breath. And then bring your attention to your inhalation, your exhalation, and very slowly bring yourself back into this room. Open your eyes, wiggle your hands, wiggle around in your seat a little bit. I know that some of you have heard of or perhaps practice having a gratitude journal where every day you just write down some things you're grateful for. Maybe you start your day or end your day like that. I have it as a doc on my phone. Every 2 months I start a new doc, and it's really fun to go back and look at it. And today is day 2057 of when I started actually writing it down. Was a practice I had before, but it's fun to write it down. And then, watching the numbers makes me want to go back and I can't wait to get to 3,000, During the winter solstice, there's a Reverend Laura up in the Asheville area. She did a meditation and a winter solstice online service, and in the middle of it she did a delight practice. So similar to a gratitude practice, she said, instead of thinking of what you're grateful for, think of something today that brought you delight. And I want everyone in this room right now to say the word delight. And turn around and look at somebody and say it. And notice how you can't say this word without smiling. It's like impossible. It's like the best word. So we did this thing in this service where what delighted you today? And you're like, huh? What was it? What brought you so joy? Was it like the smell of your coffee? Like the light coming in the window, a flower? I mean, you'd be surprised. that you do experience delight during your day. What if you acknowledged it and wrote that down and remembered, I had this moment of delight today. So another tool in the toolbox is delight. A couple of weeks ago, I was driving and there was a car in front of me, and the license plate said R, the letter U, space, a letter G, R, U, space, and a letter V. So if you looked at it, it said, "Are you groovy?" And it just made me smile. I thought, what a gift this person has, right? That anyone behind them, and no matter what the traffic is going to smile, because it's so cute, right? So things like this, notice them. This is the tool, is to notice the moments of delight in your life and to bring joy to your life. And the sixth tool today is the tool of community. And this is a tool that you all have because you are here, online or in the room. The importance of being in a positive, supportive community, your family of choice, your community of choice. This is so important. This really supports you in everything you do. You are not alone. And of course, I've written a song about that. And I have a new songwriting partner who's a wonderful singer. Her name is Casey Knowles. And she and I wrote this song together. It's called One Heart, One Love, One Vision. And I'd like to teach it to you. It goes like this. One heart, one love, one vision. One heart, one love, one vision. Sing that with me. One heart, one love, one vision. One more time. One heart, one love, one vision. Now it's my turn. Sing me a song and I'll listen. And your turn. One heart, one heart, one love, one vision. That's going to be your part for the song. One heart, one love, one vision. Sing me a song and I'll listen. Your turn. One heart, one love, one vision. I look in my heart, searching for wisdom, looking inside, seeking my truth. I see the light, I hear the music, feeling a new song beat in my heart. And we all want to live together. We all seek to get along. Deep in our hearts, we'll find the answer. Love leads us to where we belong. Everyone, one heart, one love, one vision. One heart, one love, one vision. My turn. Sing me a song and I'll listen. Everyone, one heart, one love, one vision. You are my sister, you are my brother, you are my lover, you are my friend. Expressions of divine creation. We are all beings of eternal love. We all want to live together. We all seek to get along. Deep in our hearts, we'll find the answer. That love leads us where we belong. Everyone, one heart, one love, one vision. One heart, one love, one. Can you guys just keep singing that? One heart, one. No matter what I do, you keep singing that. One heart, one love, one vision. You are not alone. You are Thank you. That is how I'm going to end my talk today.